crack? Welcome back to the Irish Impulse podcast. It's episode 5 with your host Connor.
And I'm your co-host, Michael.
What's the crack, bud?
Not how much, mate. What about yourself?
Oh, I've got loads of crack, mate. So we haven't really spoke basically since the last episode, so it's just over a week ago. So
Literally left me. He left me. He just abandoned me like a lost puppy. I was just sitting there on my eyes there looking at the cars going, somebody hit me. Nobody else loves me in this earth.
Literally every day text me and I barely reply because I was so busy. So I got roped into doing a bit of landscaping. Thought it was going to be like a 2-day job, and we're now just over a week. Feels like it's just over a week. Being there every fucking day, and we're now just waiting on the fencing coming to put the fencing up, ripping out these 8-foot high bushes, which were probably 8 foot in length as well. They're fucking rooted into the ground like you wouldn't believe. The biggest roots, everything. The whole thing was mad. And we're laughing on. We thought this was going to take 2 days. Phil,
By 2 months.
Fuck. Honestly, see once we started, like day 2, we're saying, oh, this thing is going to take the better part of a month to get done. And then, like 2 days ago, it just kind of started all coming together. We like filled at that point like 3 skips, which was way too much money. And you're like, all right, you can kind of now start to see it all forming. And then I have you at the same time going, are we recording? Are we doing a podcast? I'm like, I don't have time. Could you please fuck off? Leave me alone. That's right.
You had time for something else that will not name. You piece of shit. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
I could bust this joint. I could bust this joint in one word.
Well, I prefer if you didn't. But for the most part, I've been really busy.
Wasn't really busy. He wasn't busy enough to record with me, but he was busy enough to do something else, though.
Wasn't busy enough to do anything else to talk about. So there was that, and then what made it all worse is I quit smoking a week ago.
You never told me that.
I know, I didn't tell you. I just told you, I was like, I'm not going to tell him anything. I quit smoking a week ago.
You're probably grey. You were ginger, now you're probably grey.
No, actually, for the most part, I've been dead on. And I noticed, yesterday and more so today, I've been like really craving. But for the most part, I've been like, just got past it. But like, I picked the wrong time ever to stop smoking because I stopped smoking and then I was getting stressed out with doing all this fucking garden work. I was getting stressed out. You driving me fucking up the wall.
Because I just didn't want this project to end. I was like, is this club dead? I honestly thought you were dead for a couple of days as well. I was like, I think you might have been drowned, I might have killed him.
You're missing in action. No, it's just, it's just non-stop. And then like that there, then your text me going, I Snapchat, you not get it? I didn't even realize. It's been not long since it was even Snapchat. I was logged out of it, didn't even know.
I know, Snapchat is like a car that you're like not obsessed with, but you like driving up my street. It was a McLaren MP4, and it's like, oh my god, McLaughlin would love to see it. So me in a blind panic driving, trying to get my phone out to record, to quickly get a snap of the phone, and then next thing you know, McLaughlin is like, went on the WhatsApp yesterday. He's like, "Is your Snapchat dead or what?" He's like, "I'm gonna have a log on it." I was like,
"That's right."
Tell you.
That's right, people. Bodie just admitted to driving while using his phone while on an R plate. Good. Plus, like, you make yourself out, you make us sound way more richer than what we really are, because you've spoke about how there's a Tesla in your street, and now there's a McLaren MP4 driving up.
Well, I don't understand where these cunts are getting money from. Like, I don't live in a fancy street. It would be different if I lived up in, like,
I know,
close to...
You really make it seem like you do, and I only live like 5 minutes away from you, so if you want to make us out to be rich, make us out to be rich.
It's too bad the money didn't come.
Oh no, I would sell one of them wheels off that McLaren and be happy about it.
I'd just go for the win. I'd go for the smash the win there. Probably worth it for the fucking $2,000.
Keep it as a wee memento.
Fuck that, I wouldn't get half my debt.
I know. Well, I say I quit smoking, but I have quit smoking, but I took a vape. I went over to the vape side, try it.
Oh Jesus.
No, but it's not one of those mad ones. It's like just a wee small, like, pod one. It's not, because
Did you get that in town?
Yeah, I went up the road and they had them because I walked in and goes, mate, I need a vape or something, but I don't want these fucking bricks and all this shit. Um, and he went, right. I goes, I just want a pod system. He goes, I have one of those left. And I goes, fucking get it over here quickly then.
Get it out.
It's like, it's weird because I don't feel like you get the same hit of a cigarette, but it's also not making me want to have a cigarette. So it's obviously doing its job apart from
It's a nicotine.
yesterday. Like the big thing was, which I was surprised that I wasn't waking up, especially in the morning, wasn't waking up and like dying for a cigarette. And I was like, well, that's half the battle because then the rest I can just deal with. Oh,
I could never get the feel of us waking up that next morning and your breath rank of
mm.
smoke, or you just sort of clothes smell of smoke. You're like, I don't be sick. That's what
But
for
see,
me.
I actually, well, in the grand scheme of things, I haven't been smoking that long. Like, I've only been smoking, well, 8 years. But compared to like a lot of other people, it's not that long. It's kind of, if I'm going to get out of it, I'm going to have to do it before I turn 30 and fucking have a collapsed lung. Because like I was smoking easily 20 a day. Minimum was 20 a day. And then just go from 20 a day. And the best part I wasn't even thinking about stopping smoking. I was just like, I woke up that morning, I was like, we have to go up and do this shit in the garden. And then we took like a lunch break and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna run up the road here and grab one. Just went up, grabbed it and just started down and there and I was like, fuck it, there we go. But I think like the guys in the shop, because if I'm in the shop, they're kind of like waiting on me asking for a pack of cigarettes. Even today, this morning, your guy kind of stood there and waited before he told me the total. I was not it. And he was like,
That's it.
and you could just see him looking at it going, what, you don't want cigarettes? Like, I'm a changed man. Don't smoke that. Get that dirt away from it.
No, no.
So fuck. Well, hopefully I could just stay at it. If you ever see a cigarette in my hand, you can just slap it out. I'll give you permission. Just slap it out of me.
And then you can around and probably David fed that one.
I probably will, like, but I'll forgive you after it.
Yep. After you throw your David fed, you probably abandon them on the side of the road.
I just kick you out and drive on, then like 5 minutes
Yeah.
later, cool down, I come back. Oh, I'm sorry for that.
Yep. Me sitting there, probably lashing rain, soaking, going, Aisha, come here, I shove that egg straight up your picture.
All right.
Smoking from there, you hear you.
Oh, smoking from every office.
But here, did you listen to what D. Trump was saying about the United States of America?
So
One way.
because I've been so busy, like literally just for about 14 hours a day, been so busy, I've pretty much missed everything until late last night and then this morning to do this podcast. And I was like running through the news to see what I've missed, and holy fuck, that man is mental. So he was basically saying,
Madman.
he was saying, I can't remember the chemical there, but basically he was saying drink dead or inject Dettol.
Yeah, inject bleach, like full on bleach. Like he turned around to his medical officer in the White House and turned around and looked at him and was like, have you tried this treatment? And he looked at him like, Mr. President, are you on fucking drugs? Like, you don't know. We just can't.
Was that the woman or the guy he was speaking to?
The guy.
Dr. Fauci or something.
Yeah. He's like the head of the medical for America and for COVID-19 in America. And he turned around to the president went, are you fucking retarded or what? Do you think we can just turn around and inject bleach into human beings and think we get away with this? We're not dying.
See, I think
injecting bleach.
I think what the problem was, because he mentioned something, I'd seen that he mentioned something about heat. Was it heat and UV lighting or something like that?
No, was it not? Yeah, it was heat and... Was it not heat and bleach? I think he mentioned.
No, the bleach thing was separate. He said something like heat and... I think it was heat and UV or something like that there, and he said it to the woman. And then she was trying to nicely say, no, you fucking donkey. She was more saying if you had a fever, heat, and obviously because it would basically try and sweat it out of you. But she was trying to say, that doesn't work for a fucking virus. So I think he's seen, well, this random thing of heat helps this. So bleach will help a virus. The fucking madman.
I just love to know, because that man must have at least 40 to 50 people around him with social security, is like medical, it is like general for war. And he turns around and goes, I know what I'm going to say when I address the nation. We're going to inject bleach. Knowing that there's going to be silly people on that, there's going to be silly Americans going, fuck, the president's doing something here. Here, look, get the heroin needle out there. I just wanted to get a bit of bleach in here. And ding dong ding, we'll be COVID free.
Just sitting there going, trying to find the fucking vein.
Yeah. Go on here, it's gotta go through the penis.
Oh, Christ. No, well, the thing is, like, they probably didn't even know he was going to say it, because I remember watching a thing, like, about 2 years ago when he wasn't that long into the office, and they were saying about when they were doing briefings with him, he wouldn't pay attention or read them unless they had his name in it every paragraph. So because if he'd seen his name, he'd keep reading and keep reading and keep him interested, and they would keep it like in short paragraphs for him to actually read it, which is batshit crazy for a president, but
yeah, like the amount of articles.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a fucking idiot.
He is something special. Like, it's saying in there, I couldn't find the actual source of the poll, but there was a poll that people put out in the States, and I'll quote this, says, most people are not ready to open the country in the States. Now, let's take into consideration, Florida are going to host UFC 249, and they're going to have fans. Florida are now thinking of opening beaches down by Miami. Like, the United States is opening, like, starting to open for tourists, and they're still, like, their death toll is still so high. And I'm sitting going, this man surely doesn't get the ethical side of human beings dying. Does he not get this?
Well, sure, it's May 1st today, isn't it?
No, it is. It's not. It's April 30th. Yeah, it's April 30th. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, so from tomorrow then, is it tomorrow, the next day? That's when he had wanted.
2nd of May, I think they wanted
Was it something like that he wanted to basically start reopening everything? So good luck, America. You know what it is? You know that thing from Family Guy, and it's turned into like one of those memes everywhere. It's the Chinese woman driving the car down the road. She goes, "I'm going to change lane now. Good luck, everybody else." That's kind of him reopening all the states. Like, good luck, everybody else. They're just fucking whipping her across the road.
I know him sitting in the White House, guarded and probably barricaded with the most secure, like, anti-COVID crap, and poor wee Jimmy in Florida getting out surfing, going, "That's it, I'm dead."
Well, sure. Did you not see the leaked video from the press room in the White House? No.
No, actually, no.
So, and if I can't remember the names, but if you go online, I know Joe Rogan talked about it. You can find a leaked video. Basically, it was, the main camera they use when they're doing a press briefing. Well, obviously because the press briefing wasn't going on at that time, but it was getting ready to go live. There was only like a couple of people in the room. The camera was rolling, but it was like zoomed out, and the mic was on, and this guy came out from like the White House side, and he started speaking to one of the reporters. And the reporter had a mask on, and he's like, "Oh, you can take that mask off." Basically saying that the study that was done saying the death rate it's actually not as bad as what's being reported, blah 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 blah. And then he turns around and goes, "I'm sure we've all been vaccinated anyway," as in like all the White House staff. And your boy just went, "Oh, really?" And then they continued on talking about other stuff, but it was like that snippet off it, "We've all been vaccinated," and they're like, "What?" Nobody else has been vaccinated.
Yeah, like I can understand. They are the most, like, they run the country, but like, yeah, if they have a vaccine that they,
but there isn't. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
there is no vaccine. There is no apparent vaccine, but he said, like, people are saying, especially on Joe Rogan's podcast, they were discussing whether do you think he was like messing about, joking sort of thing, which he could have been, but it was when you watch it in the full, I think it's like a 2-minute video, it's worth watching. When you watch it in the full context, it doesn't sound like he's joking.
Why would you? That's probably just some silly scientist in the White House going, "Yep, this is what clears COVID-19. They're all going, here, get us in it, get it into my body immediately."
I don't know. Well, that's it. I don't know. I don't think they actually have been vaccinated. I think he just said it was a joke. I don't know. It's hard to say. It doesn't sound like he's joking, but I don't see how he got vaccinated. Unless they all took Trump's advice and fucking got a bit of debt all up there or something. I don't know.
It's one way to get the nervous system shot down. Here, there's about a 99.9% bacteria killed.
Clears all germs.
Clears all germs, flushes the body clean out, literally, of every organ.
You have,
But
have
like,
a,
what? They were saying the death toll. I was, as of yesterday, the Guardian had put out that 330 New Yorkers died yesterday.
how
New
many?
Yorkers, like,
Yeah.
330.
Well, to be fair, that's not as bad as what it was well, even a couple of weeks ago. Like, yes, that's obviously still a fuck ton of people, but wasn't that way higher in New York, like, before that? Were they not, like,
Like,
one
they
of the
were in the
worst
thousands,
affected?
but like, there's still 330 people are dying. Like, you compare it to where we are in the north of Ireland, like, ours yesterday was 26. I know we're nowhere near the size of New York, like, but
But ours is
just,
changing now because they finally actually now started to include deaths in the care home and deaths in the community and not just the hospital. So they recorded like an extra, was it like 3,000 deaths or something?
well, they already are one of the most vulnerable, like, because their
Yeah, but it
system is so
changes,
strong.
it
Oh, the
changes the
death toll.
outlook on it like way different because I know I'd seen, somebody had messaged him and I went looking at seeing basically they give like a breakdown of all the different areas of the UK and all the areas seem to have hit their sort of peak part because you can start to see on the graph that they're coming down in the north, south and Midlands and everything. Apart from Northern Ireland, we went up, then we came down slightly and now we're starting to go back up. There's like, we're on an up curve again. And that was before they started adding in the care home deaths and the community deaths. So we're really only starting to get in the swing of it now, which is a bit mad.
Frustrating as well, like, because I just want to get, like, I want to get back to work. I just want to do some work. I don't want to sit in the house anymore. Like, it's driving me mental. It's good to get my finances back on track, like, but talking about it, Jesus.
I can't even say that because that's yesterday. Oh, yesterday I went a bit mad on a bit of a spending spree. So my finances did look dead on until last night. I just went a bit mad. So
What you buy?
you know what? Not like nothing even worth discussing because it was just bits and pieces, like literally just, it's bits and pieces for the house. Like fuck all. Like I bought, I don't know why, but I bought you know these the shelves that you put on the wall, but it's like, oh, what is it called? Like, it's like free hanging, but it basically looks like they're just like levitating on the wall sort of thing, especially the color I got them in,
Uh,
because I painted my room, so they match the paint in my room, so like set the PlayStation and all that stuff on it, so it looks like they're just nearly like floating shelves, that's what they're
kind
called.
of sitting
Jesus
there and
Christ.
amusing. I could just picture you sitting on your bed clapping to yourself, like, I did that, look, good, lazy, floating down, but big boy.
The best part is I can't use the fucking PlayStation now because the Wi-Fi is dirt at the minute, but I was like, ah, fuck it. I need it. It's like something to do when I'm done with this garden. It's like, I need something else to do. I need something else to build.
I'm waiting for my Wi-Fi, the new one to come in
Oh, you,
next Thursday.
you got
A
new
week
one, did you?
today. A week today. Been the longest week of my life.
Well, fuck, how long you been living without it now?
Jesus.
It has to be a
But
pretty much, it
it's
has to
been
be
a
a
month.
month. Has to
Yeah,
be a month,
it's been
yeah.
a month. Like, I checked my data usage there before I left the house. 350 gig on my hotspot. Like,
Whew, 350. Thank God for a limited data,
I think, Jesus, so you just get way my provider. My provider's very actually like that, you know.
I know because it's mad, because I haven't really been using my Wi-Fi either, because obviously it's just so slow and everything, and then you're sitting like, oh, it's 350. I've only used 20 gig. You're sitting there with 350 gig. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, well, I'm still playing, like, religiously playing the Xbox, and then I'm playing the Xbox with all the rest of the little boys, and then I'm streaming Disney, and then I'm fucking, my dad's on it, my mum's on it, my sister was on it.
Is
So,
your,
like, it
is,
was,
is your dad also on Disney as well?
I mean, and it'd be fantastic if he was. The money would be a great aspect if he was to get that.
Here, Dad, you on Disney? That's right. I'll give you that direct debit because I've got way too many.
Yeah, here's loads more. About all of them.
Oh, here, not to put you on blast, but in case somebody else is in the same situation, I was seeing yesterday that if anyone's in an overdraft, they can have the first £500 of their overdraft frozen at 0%.
I, no,
So
I Halifax, I'll just give my bank away there, but yeah, Halifax where I said that.
Yeah, so you don't get hit. And that's why I don't
Yeah.
have an overdraft, thank Christ.
Halifax already said that, so we could thank God.
Here, you know what I find it really funny? Like between everything that's been going on, like the last week, like I say, I've only got caught up on everything last night, so I was going through it all, and then I came across this one story, and I went, how did I not hear about this at all? Even though I've been like staying away from it, I was like, how the fuck did I still not hear about this? So with everything going on with the coronavirus, Trump being an absolute madman, everything, nobody seems to be talking about the fact that the Pentagon released declassified footage of basically proven UFOs from fighter jets.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I think
And
Live
nobody
Bible, I
seems to
seen
talk
that. I
about
didn't, yeah, I didn't actually read, I looked into the Live Bible, but I think I did read into it. I'd never actually seen, oh yeah, that's actually a good point. I forgot all about that.
it. Now
That shows you, like, that's,
I remember like last year, was either last year or the year before, there was a fighter pilot who had said that he'd been told from different fighter pilots that they had seen stuff now, and he's like, that's like one of those things, like, you never know. And then he had experienced it himself. He was flying, he'd seen this thing just, it went from a hovering position to like just take off in midair in the click of a finger. He goes, I've never seen anything move that fast. And it's one of the videos that released seems to be the one that he was discussing about a year or two ago, which was off his fighter jet. And it was like, it's just this object in the distance, just sitting there. And then just, boom, gone. You're like, what the fuck? Now, it might not even be a UFO, but fuck, it looked like one.
but that would be the perfect time now for the states if they had any secrets, like, they wanted to get rid of. Like, this would be the perfect time to do it when everybody's fucking shit scared of everything.
Yeah, well,
Huh.
it happens. Like, in government, there's a thing called spin doctors. So their job is when to put out things, when to try and put a positive spin on a bad news story, this, that, and the other. And I can't remember the exact story, but I remember when the Olympics was in London and the open ceremony happened, obviously, during at the nighttime part. So the next morning when obviously all the papers were discussing it, there was somebody in the UK government had put out something about, it was like a tax cut or something, like something really, like it was going to affect a lot of people, like money wise. And they put it out, and it got this tiny wee square in the paper, like in the middle of the paper, where on a normal day, it probably would have been headline news, but because the night before was the Olympic opening ceremony, it obviously got front page coverage. And I'd said this before we went off, before our shop closes, like, just wait till after all this and people start saying, shit, never seen that in the news, never seen this in the news, never seen that in the news, all this stuff affect everyone. They've just dumped all the news stories at the same time.
Definitely 9/11 was an inside job coming out.
Well, that's it. You know what? They probably could have put that in the paper. It's like, by the way, Bush was behind all of this, even though he wasn't, he wasn't there or anything. Bush is behind all of the 9/11. And they could have put that out. Nobody would have seen it.
I know, so JFK was meant to be assassinated.
Oh, God. But,
Um,
yeah, seen,
it's,
your boy, Captain Tom Moore, turned 100
I,
today.
I got his promotion to colonel.
Yeah, seen that fair play to him. Well, he did raise 30, I think at the end of it all, he raised 30 million quid for that NHS charity.
Okay,
So, he fucking deserve, the scene they done a flyover on his house with like a Spitfire and,
I was
fuck, Hurricane
the
or something.
P50,
Whatever fucking plane it was.
P51, is it not? I think it was
Aye,
a P51, no, must be,
anyway,
that they flew, the
can't,
tanks flew in World War Two.
I honestly can't remember. I know I seen Spitfire and I can't remember the second one, but yeah, fair play to him. They honored him pretty well. I know I
So
laugh
for that,
because
it's from Her Majesty.
I, not that I hate the army, like I just, the army and all that stuff isn't my cup of tea sort of thing. And I don't
They're
know,
not a respected pilot.
for like the last 3 weeks, it's all I've fucking talked about.
Well, I would disagree personally that he doesn't deserve the rank of colonel because there's boys out there getting shot to shit religiously on a day-to-day basis. and they're
you,
sitting in
you,
privates
you,
and they're doing world medals, and they come home and barely get promoted to like a corporal, which is just above a private, and then he's sitting walking. I understand he's done a lot,
oh,
but for me, you
but it's
have
not
to be an active duty to get a promotion.
but it's not an official one. It's an honorary one. It's different.
Ah, I thought he was officially getting. Well, they're calling him colonel now. He's a colonel instead of captain. He
Yeah,
was a captain when he was on active duty. Now, but
yeah,
we're
but
giving
here,
him a colonel rank.
it's the same as somebody like fucking, like a radio presenter getting a fucking MBE for their fucking contributions to radio or something, some bullshit like that.
Oh, he deserves an MBE definitely, but
No,
I
but
don't think
it's
he's a
like,
colonel rank.
it's the same sort of stature, like everyone will call that person MBE fucking whatever their name is. Or like Sir Chris Hoy, the Chris Hoy that he got Sir because of, his things to cycling. It's the same, like they call him Sir Chris Hoy. They'll call your boy Colonel Tom Muir because he's honorary got the title now, but I know you're saying it's not like he's actually got it for services
Being
in
on
the
active
army,
duty,
but
yeah. Yeah.
fuck, he still
Because
deserves it.
colonel's quite high, like colonel's very high in the military.
Well, surely that has to be a world record now. He has to be now the oldest person to ever be promoted in the army.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely with the UKR, the British Army, yeah,
So that's a big
yeah,
day for
definitely.
him. That's a big
'Cause
day.
he was part of the Marines, like, so he wasn't part
Oh,
of the
was he?
Navy or the Air Force, yeah, so he was an infantry soldier, I think.
Oh,
I don't
fucking
think he
hell.
was part of the Navy, he wasn't in the Navy, or definitely wasn't he wasn't a pilot, was he? He might actually have been a pilot. I actually don't know. He was a pilot, credit or credit due, because them boys didn't have a long life expectancy in the World War. They, they were shot to shit, and they were shot quick.
They went bye-bye.
Yeah, a lot of pilots didn't make it back from World War II because they were just like getting dog fights and then just like get anti-air guns and get the Germans to their fucking advancements in aircraft at that time. So
Aye, well, there's probably a reason for that there. They're all
because
fucking
he
mad
was
over
actually
Germany.
see that after today, if he was a pilot, credit or credit due, I will take my perspective a lot back because pilots did not come home from World War II.
Maybe he was, that would probably explain the flyover. But,
Well, the fire was probably just the RAF memory.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying, but maybe because he was, who the fuck knows? Who actually knows? Well, somebody knows, I just didn't look into it that much.
Yeah, but
Um, I seen, on the news there actually just before we done this, Danske Bank, they reported 80% losses for the first quarter of this year. 80% losses.
that
So,
is for
for
a bank.
yeah,
That's going on administration type of fucking loss there, like
isn't it? So like
Jesus.
for the first quarter, their profit was 1.4 million. And then for the same time frame last year, the profit was 24 point whatever million. So it's a big drop off.
23 million, like jeez.
But I tell you where I'm going for a loan after all this is over, going to them because their interest rates will be super low because they will need every penny and they'll need everyone taking a loan with them
Everywhere.
to try and make up for them fucking losses. I have you going in, I'm wanting a new car, I'm wanting a house, I'm wanting this, I'm wanting that. And they're like, yep. How much? Not a problem. There you go. I'll go spend it, live like a king for 3 months, go bankrupt and then do it all over again in 5 years.
Jesus Christ. So
Yeah.
wait, isn't it?
Just seeing that there, it's like, whew. But that's it. Like everyone will say, I go, oh God, here we go. Like you said, that's them going bankrupt. That's them going into administration. I just think going cheap loans, cheap loans.
Well, so I could just say to my missus, I gotta tell her.
You could have a massive wedding on the back of that. Come on, just going, thanks very much, boys.
I'd be like, darling, I'm going to get a Tesla. Why? Because I got a loan. It's a dirt cheap.
You'd be sitting there doing the speech going, I would just like to thank, I just like to thank Nick's family for allowing me to marry his daughter. I'd just like to thank my family for rearing me. I'd also like to thank Danske Bank for sponsoring this shindig.
I got my Tesla outside waiting for tomorrow. Go home when I'm cough cut's going to drive me home and everything.
If everyone could not give us any gifts and just give us cash because we have a massive payment coming tomorrow.
I'll say it's like excuse fucking me. Be like, oh darling, you never heard this.
Yeah, it's like if everyone would just like to contribute towards the payment plan for the next 10 years, it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much. If you would like to do an advance payment for the minimum terms down, that would be so fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a card reading machine out the back here. It's contactless, so I just tap it. That's at least 30 quid.
we've actually increased the contactless payment up to 450 quid. So if anybody would like to tap away, don't be
Oh,
afraid of double tap. It does read a double tap now.
our local shops on that there, they raised it to, I think it was
45, I think.
45, wasn't it? Yeah, 45.
Yeah,
But
45.
this now feeds into all, see, one of the first things I heard when the virus kicked off is like, oh, they don't want anyone using actual money. They want it all to be digital through like contactless payments, things like this. And you're like, yeah, that's right, dead on, not a problem. If that's what you think, dead on. And then they upped the limit and everyone's like, see, fucking told you. And you're like, yeah, okay. And then it's just the one wee thing happens, like, I fucking knew it. Like, what benefit is it that we don't use cash over contactless? Nothing. It doesn't make a fucking difference.
It's easier to spend on contactless stuff. Fucking just see a little subtle happening with obviously like Google Pay and Android Pay and Apple Pay. It's like it's just getting fucking too easy.
Well, yeah, well, that's true. But if you're anything like me and you leave your card at home fucking constantly, by mistake, that is, constantly do that.
So you know how that in Google Pay.
I took it off the phone just for that reason. It swiftly deleted all that shit off.
I can't spend no money.
I know. Cause I even went back into the poker world this week and everything. A friend of ours who, the George Best lookalike, he set up he must have,
Tournament.
he obviously must have a deal with, a poker site. So he's been putting out
But
things.
sure, he's like a semi-pro. He's not a pro. Poker
Oh,
player. So he was in the art.
that's right. I forgot about that actually. Just as soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah, cause he went and played. That's right. Forgot all about
Where he
that.
got, I think he got, was it to the Sam? He was on the final, one of the final tables, I think,
Yeah, he
in the
was.
Irish Open.
Yeah, he was. So, and that was through that site that he uses. So they must have, he must obviously have a deal with them somewhere. So basically, like it's pretty good because, and like normally if you're playing like an online tournament, the money that you put in, the host, as in the company who are running it, they take their percentage off it, obviously, because that's how they make their money. But whatever way he has set up, the money that goes in is the money that comes back out. So it's split up into like, all the money goes in, split up to like the first 8 places or whatever. So I haven't played poker, especially like competitively in years, and first night in, played, I like to be fair, he set it up as like a beginner one. So it was only like 7, I don't know why, but it's in euro. So it's €7 in, so like 6 quid or whatever. And I think I finished like 6th the first night. So I basically nearly just over trebled my money. So then I had the money there, and then he done another one a couple of nights later, but this time it was like for all the big wigs, and I was contemplating whether to play or not. I was like, don't know. And it was 25 quid in, or €25 in. And I was like, right, fuck it, I'll go for it. I went in. I think I was out within the first 15 minutes, got absolutely fucking mauled what I did. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Then I was just sitting there furious and just wasted 25 quid. So then I had like, I think I had like €3 left. And then there's like all these other games on the app. There's this one called Hexapro. You go on, it's basically it's a 3-player playoff. So you can put in between 1 and, I think it's 1 and €50. And then the more money you put in, the more that game's worth. But anyway, I put in for €2. And then the options that you can play for is 3, 6, €3, €6, €10, €25, €100, and then just a random like €10,000. And then
Jesus.
it starts knocking off all the prizes down to 2, and then it basically does like an eeny, meeny, miny, mo between the 2, and then whatever
Sounds
you
like
play
a
for.
deal or no deal.
Basically, like it picks it all for you, what the 3 of you are going to play each other against for. So like the first one I played, was only for €3, so, and it was €2 in, so you're only making €1 out of it. So I won that, and I was like, right, well, that's fine. And then there was another I played again straight after it for €2 again, but it was this time for €10, and I won that within 2 hands. I got flushes. The guys I was against,
Jeremy Bowers.
they went all in against me each time, and I had flushes on each of them. So I wiped them out in 2 hands. So then I had like my money built back up, and then uh, they had another tournament on last night for the €7 again. So I went into that there. I was like, fuck it, we'll play that there, and we'll rectify for what happened 2 nights ago. Cause I think the winner last night, my brother, he played it, he came third. But the
I
winner
remember
got,
seeing your brother on them.
no, but even last night again, he played and he came third this time. He's weirdly wildly good. I don't know how he got so good at it, but he is good. But the winner last night got like just shy of €200. Like the winnings in it is pretty good because the amount of people playing in it. But I was sitting
Like,
there,
it's something to do, like, and he's
yeah,
quite local, and he has
yeah,
got a bit of a following.
yeah, like I think there was about like 70, 80 odd people in last night, so it was pretty good. But anyway, I went in and I was playing alright, was sitting around where I started and I was doing dead on, and then cards came up and I was like, oh, this is it, this is my time. I had kings. And I went, here we go. And then the first three cards came up and it was a king. And I was like, well, I'm home with a fucking boat. I've just got trip kings. So I'm just betting. And then I checked on the fourth card and then the person I was against, they put in heavy bet. I said, no problem. Bet at that. And then on the final card, I just went all in to see would they go with me, and they went with me. And I was like, oh, we're on to a winner here. And they got a fucking flush. And I was like, that's karma. That's fucking karma. It wiped me out within, I was
You
in,
got battered.
yeah, I was in for just shy of an hour and I was fucking raging. And then my cousin was also in it and he texted me on the break. He goes, did you not rebuy in? It's like my phone went so far across that room after that hand. I was fucking fuming.
Just sitting, you going, yeet, fuck you, cunt.
Literally.
Where the fuck?
Oh man, I was fucking buying. I just thought I was home on a boat. I wasn't even looking really at the rest of the cards. I was like, yep, I've got this one, which is obviously a very amateur mistake to make. And then I was sitting going, how the fuck did I lose that? And then that was it. So I've wasted all funds within the last week on poker as well. So I think I'll give that a skip for a while.
I think he's doing, he does one like every day. Is that on how he plays? Like, see, I am on Snapchat, and his Snapchat is literally just like watching him live betting and all. So if you had him on Snapchat, you can see his cards if you're on his table, by the way.
Well, he was on my table last night. My cousin nearly wiped him out, yeah. He's actually, to be fair, every time I've played, we've been on the same table against each other every time. And I nearly wiped him out the first night I played. I nearly got him because he's doing a bounty where if you wipe him out before he rebuys in, you get a free entry to the next tournament. And it was so close. Like I won the hand, but I just didn't bet enough to get all of his chips off him by a couple of hundred. It was nearly raging. But he's so annoying, like in a good way, he's so annoying because anytime I thought I would have a hand, he would then go in and just before you even see the first three cards, he would just raise like some fucking ridiculous amount of money. And I'm like, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth firing all that in. Just see the first three to see how it goes. But I've already I've already committed a couple of hundred, if not 1,000 already. And then he's coming in with a massive bet on top. I'm like, well, you called the bluff there. You did every fucking time. And then eventually switched table. And I was never so happy to see him switch table last night. But sure, it didn't matter. I got fucking wiped out anyway.
Fuck, I wish his pull ability good match to see him his poker ability.
Anyway, he's not that bad. Hey, well, I can't say anything. I'm very good at pool, but I can't play in a competition to save my fucking life.
Oh, that's because you don't fucking turn up for a start.
Well, when I do turn up, I still don't turn up.
You fucking bottle it. Fucking bottle job.
It's so bad. Oh, it's so
Would you like
bad.
to tell the people of your fucking expert 2 shots, and you fucking decide to lightly tap the black up and don't even touch the fucking rail, to fucking go through to the next round, or was it for a win?
No,
for the win.
No, you got it wrong. That's not what happened. I had 2 shots, and the plan was the black was kind of sitting against the cushion, so the plan was just to knock it off the cushion a bit, and then just pot it in. But I very rarely drink, and this night I had a drink, and I was like already like 2 days.
You had like 2 pints?
Yeah, exactly, but I very, very rarely drink. And I kind of had a bit of a buzz on. So for whatever reason, I got really close to the white with my hand, which I don't know why I did it, and then the cue,
The
obviously.
queue hand was extremely close. That's
So
how
the,
when I was questioning that. I didn't question the queue because you do queue quite close to the cue ball, and I was like, but it's like his hand is awfully close. Like his hand, I thought you were going to pick the cue ball up, but it's like you really should have to ask the ref to pick the cue
yeah,
ball. Well,
I know, and for whatever reason, I just, like, feathered it. I just barely even hit it. I just put it. I was like, what the fuck did I just do?
literally the whole team just went, "Are you fucking serious?"
Oh, and it was for the fucking win too. I was like, oh, you donkey. Like, but that's the funny thing. Like, you know, because me and you play against each other all the time. I can play very, very well. But when it comes to the league, I have never won a match.
Yeah,
Because
but you did win a match, you know.
nope, I've lost every match I've ever played in.
You've only played like 3 anyway.
No, I've played a couple because I've done the 3 singles and then there was the doubles and then
Ah,
there's
that's right. You and Harry chronologically toured to the doubles partner. That's
it
right. That
was
was the end. Yeah.
but that was a whole miscommunication between what color we should have picked and it was a fucking nightmare. But yeah, fucking nightmare.
Handicap.
Here, did you see about the Gardaí in the Republic?
No.
So, you know the way obviously with lockdown, you're not really allowed to go anywhere unless it's essential.
Yeah, like yeah.
And obviously it's the same down south. But if you can get yourself to the border to go down south, you cannot be stopped and you can't be arrested once you're actually over the border.
Because they've no rights, so they don't have any like they can't do
They've,
anything over us because
they've
it's
no law. Apparently
yeah.
when they set up the emergency legislation, there's a gap in it that it's basically a loophole. If you get to the border, they can't ask you, are you there for pleasure or are you there for business or anything like that? They just have to let you go. As long as you adhere to like the whole staying 2 meters apart, you can basically get yourself down south and go traveling and you can't be stopped and they can't arrest you because it's too much of a headache to arrest us down south without the jurisdiction and everything. So yeah, if you feel like you can get yourself to the border, go on your wee holidays, enjoy it.
Trip of
Fucking mad.
Dublin.
It's mad though. Oh man, fuck you say that. Oh, I fucked up yesterday big time. So obviously you tagged me in that thing about Lewis Capaldi's things being rescheduled to next year.
Yeah.
I'd already seen that yesterday. So I've been talking to friends, I was like, fuck, I must get the, hotels and all cancelled. And they text back going, did you book hotels as well? I was like, oh wait, maybe I didn't. Turns out they'd actually booked them and I didn't book them. But when I went on to check my bookings, this one came up and I was like, what the fuck is this?
That's right. I know what you booked that for. Yes, I remember that now.
No, yeah. So I booked this. I have a hotel in Dublin booked in August.
Yeah.
And it was like 315 quid. And I was saying, what the fuck have I booked this for? Could not remember why I'd booked this, whatever. So I cancelled the booking. And then 15 minutes later, it just hit me like a fucking train. I was like, oh, you wanker. I was like,
but it was a good thing you did cancel that.
But I've booked that for the UFC, Dublin for me and
the Dublin was cancelled.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was a good thing.
Oh, well then thank fuck for that.
Yeah, Dublin's going to be cancelled, I think, because they don't think that the South are allowing, they don't think they're going to allow anybody, or allow a big venue until next year.
Oh, really?
I'm sure with that. I think it was if it's any more than 3,000 people, the South are just going to know. So obviously with that, they're not going to do it. I've definitely seen something about the UFC thinking of cancelling it or postponing it.
That's lucky then, because that would have been heartbreaking. August coming around and me just missing £300 on my bank account going, why the fuck am I missing £300 from booking?
Well, sure, it was 4 or 5 we were meant to go. Sure, we didn't even get the tickets. The tickets go on sale June.
Yeah, well, I knew there was, but it was just, well, thank God it was, because it was just after all I went, oh, fuck. I was like,
yeah, we must actually check that after, because I think I'm right in saying I do think to the UFC, so they're going to postpone all events. But obviously now with 249 going ahead, actually, I'm starting to doubt that, but it is in the States.
We don't have Donald Trump, and the South don't have a Donald Trump running the country.
Did you see DC, for anybody who doesn't know, DC's Daniel Cormier, did you see what he put out saying? Because Daniel Cormier's doing the reffing and commentating for 249 card.
Is it?
Or not reffing, judging and commentating. Yeah.
At the same time?
I don't know. Was this because I read that read the source, and I'll go down to it after. But DC turned around and said to one of these publicists, like, yeah, after I come after 249, which I will be going, but I'll not be fighting. Like he says here, he'll be, or he's allowed or watching fights, and so I'm assuming he's rather calling. The way I took it from the article, he's rather calling or commentating.
He must be commentating because there's no way you could judge that because somebody after the big fuck up with the judges they had in Texas, where like there was just a lot of wrong calls made. A lot of people say, well, why don't they just get like ex-fighters in to be judges? And it's the whole thing of it's up to the state because you have to go on courses. You have to do this.
He's not an ex-fighter. He's the current heavyweight champion.
I know, but they were talking about ex-fighters. Like, why don't they get ex-fighters like who like, because obviously some go to commentate and some do this. Why don't they get some in to also just be judges? Like, cause at least then they know what they're looking at sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It makes sense for a fighter to...
Oh, absolutely. I think that's exactly how they should do it because there's been that many mess ups, especially that card they had in Texas was a joke. I think they got every fight every fight that ended in a decision, they got every single one of them wrong, apart from maybe one of them, which was just like, what the fuck? But, yeah, and there's no way he's judging. He must
be
call
commentating. Like what he said there, he's not allowed to come home for 2 weeks after the fight, so he's just going to stay in Florida. His wife won't let him come back home, obviously, because of the COVID crap.
Unreal. If your wife turned around to you and went, here, yeah, go and enjoy that event, and by the way, don't come back for 3 weeks, you're like, no fucking problem, sweetheart.
But he turned around, and as he said, he goes, my wife won't let me back in the house, we've got a strict rule. 2 week self-isolation. After the 2 week self-isolation, if I'm alright and we have no symptoms, then she's just going to let me back in. But he's like 2 kids, I think.
But here's the problem with stuff like that. Yes, I completely understand where she's coming from, but say you're self-isolating for the 2 weeks, and on like day 11 or 14, you went to the shop, and just by some happenstance, you actually got that virus. And it's still the same thing of, it takes like 4 days to show up. I don't know if that's still the case, but I remember at the start they were saying, it takes 4 or 5 days.
7 days, yeah.
Yeah, so say that's the case. So he's went to a shop because he's needed to go to the shop or whatever. And then he's went home. And then the symptoms have only started to fucking show up after he's got home, which would obviously be devastating for his family and all. But like stuff like that, I'd be like, you know what, hon, you just stay out there until it's all over. I'm like, not a problem. I'll go to all the beaches of Florida.
Well, they're opening them all up now, the silly bastards, like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. They're opening the one in Tampa Bay. I've seen it, so I think it was actually due to open today or tomorrow.
And anyone who goes that are fucking stupid.
Oh, they're Americans. Like, I understand. I have a lot of respect for Americans, but I don't understand why they would open the country, but I cannot get that around my head. I can understand if the death toll was at like 0 or to maybe 1 or 2 every couple of days. But when you're still getting a higher death toll, fucking keep the country alive, because you're going out and volunteer tours. Like, I know I think Disney aren't announcing or aren't reopening any of their parks until next year. So that's costing them a clean fortune, because that place has to be maintained and all that crap.
Yeah.
I think Universal and Orlando as well are thinking of keeping it shut until Christmas time. Like, all these big massive attractions in Florida, for example, are closed. I don't even know. I think New York as well is keeping a lot of their attractions closed, like the Empire State Building, obviously.
New York definitely will have to, because, like, even though it's not as high as what it was in New York, but it's still fucking high. I fucking seen a photo there this morning of a funeral parlor's place. They're having that many bodies that they can't even fucking take them out of the building in like a hearse or whatever. They literally had, I think it was like 60 odd bodies or whatever it was in the back of a lorry, and you just see them because they've that many, and there's just nothing they can do because they're using these like mass graves, obviously, as burials. They're just putting them in the back of lorries. You're like, holy shit.
you'd feel so sad, like if one of your ones passed away and you're just seeing them in the back of a lorry instead of, the whole, well, I don't know how it works in America, but if it's over here, like you have to
It's pretty
remember
similar.
the religion.
It's pretty similar to what we are. It's the whole 3 day thing. Like, because I know in England normally like a funeral can take like weeks before it actually happens. But compared to like Northern Ireland and America, it's pretty similar. It's normally just a 3 day sort of thing, and then away on you go. But I think because they're everything going on, it's literally they're coming from the hospital or wherever they were to the funeral house. They're fucking fixed up, put in the body bag, put in the back of the lorry, and then sent on to the mass grave. Which is crazy.
It's ludicrous, like, yeah, I just thought I'd mention that LTC is going to go out to Florida, commentate on the event, and then I'm assuming stay out in Florida for 2 weeks,
I
and then come
wonder,
back home.
I wonder will Rogan go? Because Rogan had said at the point of them doing when they were going to do the original one on the Fight Island or whatever the fuck it was going to be called, I think it was like a week out or basically just before they cancelled it, he was still unsure whether he wanted to do it or not. And he said he was at that point, more leaning towards that he was going to go. So because it's in Florida, I'd say he might actually go.
I was going to say he'd have to commit because he is literally like the voice of the octagon, not obviously the voice of Chris Buffer, but he's the voice of the commentating. Like when you hear Rogan, like, oh, we're out for the fight, please.
Oh, I know. But, well, yeah, especially with somebody Ferguson Gaethje, I would like to think he would be there. But
I'd love to fight.
I think at the minute he's the most safest person out of everyone in America because like he's still doing his podcast, he's still doing all that. And then anyone who's coming in, he's having them tested before they come in and all that stuff. He's a doctor on site testing everyone as soon as they come in. So he's probably like the most safest person in America right now.
This is smart. And he's still keeping some sort of income as well.
It just shows you how much money that man actually has. That he's able to have a doctor on site doing testing. Because then testing is not cheap over there. I think one in the other pocket, like a friend of his was doing another one. I think they were saying it was like $2,500, $3,000 a test.
Jesus Christ.
So it definitely isn't cheap.
That's absolutely ludicrous. Like, I think he's probably playing that private doctor as well. Like,
I know. Absolutely.
There, like.
Absolutely. So like Rogan's got some good fuck you money.
Well, when you got it, you may as well use it for Joe Rogan's case in quite a good way.
Well, I suppose like he's probably making enough money off the ads of every podcast to make up for them tests, to be fair.
I know. That's the same. If you think about Rogan's income, like he's got quite a lot.
Oh yeah, so he's got his own stand up. He's got when he does the stand up specials for Netflix. He's got his podcast. He's got the UFC.
He's got his own merchandise.
He owns On It, which do like the supplement, and then
Has he not got a partnership with them dumbbells, the Gorilla dumbbells?
No, that's On It. That's his.
Is that his? Oh, right. I knew you had something to do with that. That's good.
It took me a long time to work that out. It actually took me forever to work that out. But he just in passing one day had said about it. I was like, oh, I didn't know you owned them.
Yeah, I knew he had something to do with it. I just couldn't remember if he owned it or he was part of it, like sponsorship. But that makes sense, because I've actually seen them dumbbells look class, but
yeah, to be fair, they do look pretty cool, to be fair. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. But it goes back to that whole thing. Remember we were talking about, the Rock and the Under Armour were bringing out them new Rock shoes, like the black and white ones. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm so all over that until I seen the price. And then I was like, I'm not over that as much anymore.
That's the story of my life. It's the second they get an athlete involved and they're like, oh my god, there's class, and then you go and look at it like, oh my sweet Jesus, I can't afford that.
You're like, oh no.
Sounds like everything in my life.
Speaking of which, are you watching the what's it called? Last Dance on Netflix?
The Last Dance? No, what's that?
That's, they're doing this documentary about I'm not into basketball, but it's about the Chicago Bulls when there was...
is that what that's called? Yeah, I am watching that. Yeah, I'm watching that. I only watched the first episode. Is that what it's called, The Last Dance?
Yeah, well, see, it's called The Last Dance. You'll, once you get into episode 1 and all, like, properly, you'll understand why it's called The Last Dance. But it's very, very, very good. Oh, it is.
I've watched the first episode. It's class. Like,
You know, like, because like when something comes out Netflix, and especially if you like it, such as Tiger King, like I binge watched the whole thing in
Carol
one go.
Baskin, children,
Carol Best.
children, wet.
I watched the whole thing in one sitting, so like you're in that mind frame of, oh, I can sit and watch it. So I watched episode one, watched episode two, and then it just stopped. Like it didn't go on to episode three, and I was like, what the fuck? Is my TV broke? What's happening here? And I'm sitting there trying to go back in, trying to get into episode three, and then I finally took like 5 minutes to realize that they're only releasing it 2 episodes at a time. I think there's 10 in total, but every week they're releasing 2 at a time, so I need to actually watch 3 and 4 at some point this evening. But it's very, very good. Like I'm not a basketball fan
No,
at all, but from the
no.
documentaries side of it, it's brilliant.
It is great. Like the detail, like, and you didn't really, and you always knew back in then how, because Jordan always spoke, like, you didn't realize how, like, not unhappy he was, but like the mindset that he was in when during that time, like, because I think ours, I could be wrong in saying this, because I'm not a basketball fan, but I think they still are the most successful team to ever grace the court in the NBA.
Well,
I don't know if the Lakers are.
I'd say the Lakers probably have surpassed them now, but they were definitely that team that especially made up
Yes.
of A-Rod and Jordan, and then it's gonna bug me who the other guy
I
was.
know. I remember. I can see his face. That's the one with the blonde hair. He was. He was.
No, no, not the blonde hair, the other black guy, because they go into him more on the second episode about how he was basically like Michael Jordan was the number one player in the NBA. This guy was basically the number two. He was only second in everything to Michael Jordan.
Ryan Jordan. But
But,
Jordan was a
but the money he
demon.
was on was completely different to what everyone else was on. Like he would have been the second best player in the NBA at the time, but was the 122nd highest paid person in the NBA. So he was quite like way low down. And it was all because of a deal he had done at the time. He had done a deal for X amount of million over 8 years, which, and the owner of the Chicago Bulls at the time said, you probably don't want to sign that deal. The guy who owns Chicago Bulls at the time, he's on that documentary. It's the other guy talking. He
He
seemed,
still owns him.
oh, does he still own him? Well,
Yeah, because it comes up in the way when his name when he's introduced, he still comes up as Chicago Bulls owner.
oh, well, fair enough. He seems like a pretty fair guy, like, cause he even says, like, you probably don't want to sign that deal. He goes, and he was the thing that he even says, like, I would recommend you not signing that deal.
Aye, but was that general manager that was a dick? What did you
No,
call him?
he is a prick of, I don't even know what
He
his name
was
is.
a
Prick
Yeah,
of a
he
guy.
was the fat guy. Yeah, the fat guy he employed. But he said that he was the most kind-hearted, generous guy the Bulls ever employed. But he obviously, as they say in the documentary, I don't want to spoil too much, but he obviously seen that Jordan and the players were getting so much of the spotlight, but he was the guy bringing the players in and signing the contracts and getting them endorsements and deals, and he was like, I'm not getting any spotlight. So he said, fuck it, we'll sabotage Jordan, we'll sabotage the Bulls.
Exactly.
So he did it.
It's just,
Like, he was such a dick, and I just, like, imagine he was not, obviously, now he got Jordan, who drafted Jordan, I think he was part of the team that drafted Jordan, and obviously got that team together. Like, imagine he just said, fuck it, and let the Bulls be the Bulls. Obviously just dealt with wages and endorsements and cuts and staff, and just left the players to the coach. And like, the Bulls could have went on a fucking rampage. Like,
well, to be fair, well, the thing was, they pretty much already had went on a rampage, but they were going for their double treble, and he basically just wanted that whole refresh. But if they were, like, there was probably their last chance that they were going to get the double refresh, the double treble, because, especially with that team, because, like, say they didn't get it that year, then they would have to go for the next 3 years, I was trying to get the treble.
yeah, well, that's a fair point. But no, the documentary class, I love all that sort of sports documentary stuff. Like, I watched the Manchester City one on Amazon, and it was class. Like, as a big football fan, it was amazing, especially to dive into the mind of Pep Guardiola for a couple of episodes. That was class. But I love all them sports documentaries. Like, they're amazing. Just to see what happens behind the scenes of like a football club and now a basketball club, and There's loads. Like there's a couple of ones on the NFL. I think there's one on the. Don't quote me on the Arizona Hawks. I think they're called, or Chiefs or something.
Sunderland Till We Die, or whatever it's called on Netflix.
Oh, is that massive Newcastle fan? I fucking watched it.
Oh,
Did I
did you?
laugh?
Actually, that's why
Bull
I
was in
asked you. I didn't
tears.
think you actually would have watched it.
Oh, I laughed and I bawled my eyes out in tears of laughter looking at them. And they laughed at us when we got relegated. And did I laugh 3 times harder when they got the double relegation? I did. And now look at them. There's actually a funny tweet. A Sunderland guy tweeted out going, well, the time where Derby does go out the window, if we ever come up against the Mags, it's now gone. They have a Saudi Arabian billionaire, the richest ever football club in the world. And we are struggling to find an owner in League One. I literally just laughed at it and went, how the tables have turned, good sir. How the tables have fucking turned.
I actually didn't think you were going to watch it at all. I just thought, because it always kept showing up. I was like, he'll not even watch it because he's that diehard of Newcastle. He'll not go anywhere near even giving him the pleasure of them getting the view from him.
Oh, I did. Oh, and did I? Because funny enough, I'm in about, about 50 Newcastle groups. And all of them were all saying, watch it, it's funny, watch it, it's funny. So I said, fuck it, I'll watch it. And the first season where they're based in the Championship was just priceless. Now, Chris Coleman, I have a lot of respect for Chris Coleman. Chris Coleman was the Wales dude, got Wales to the semi or the quarterfinals of the Euros back in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
And he took that job and tried to save Sunderland, and even he couldn't save them. Like, Sunderland were a dying ship. They were a sinking ship, a dying ship. The players were shit. The club is shit. The city is a dunghole. Like, the only thing good about that Sunderland documentary is the fucking song at the start. Mac and Bastards. And all they sing is 5 in a row, and all we're going to sing is, get back to the Premier League and we'll start singing 5 in a row again, you fucking bastards.
Glad I brought that up. So that you know your rant.
Yeah. It's the most, I respect when poor R.I.P. Bradley Laurie died, like Newcastle and Sunderland fans came together, and it was lovely to see. Like, he was class. I love that wee kid. But fucking hell, I hate the bastards with a passion. It's the only time I hate Newcastle and Sunderland fans, other from a couple other times we came together. But I hate the
Well, yeah. I don't think they could not come together or something. I think if they didn't, everyone would be like, all right, please, come with the first night.
It's definitely on my bucket list because it's only one I've been to see Newcastle play. If you include the away games locally, but 4 times. It's the only game now I need to see.
Have you never been to Derby?
I've never been to a time. No, I've never been to a time where Derby. No, I've seen Newcastle win 4-1 against Reading. I've seen them go down and beat local Shamrock Rovers 6-0.
Oh,
seen them go down and beat them. What they call the Bohemians in Dublin. I think they beat them 3-1. And then I was there when we got beat 1-0 by West Brom.
I'm not a big fan of watching football live, to be honest. Like my first ever football match I ever went and watched was 14, about 14 years ago. It was about 11, 12. And it was, Celtic Rangers, Celtic Park. So you could just imagine how fucking mental that game was, because that was obviously well before all the administrative shit happened with Rangers, where they got kicked out of the league and all that stuff. So it was when it was still competitive. And I remember watching that match going, this is fucking mental, because you could just see over another side of the stadium, the Rangers fans, just how fucking, I'm trying to say this nicely because I'm sure it's not all people, but it was just, they were doing something like, they were pissing on the seats after the match and all was over, and you're just like, what the fuck? And I'm sure the Celtic fans were exactly the same at Ibrox when it would have been an away game for Celtic or whatever. But I remember just being there and that whole atmosphere. The atmosphere was amazing, like it was electric. But could I see anything on the pitch? Could have fuck. I was like way at the back and I couldn't see dick. All these people cheering, I just sitting going, yeah. I had a fucking clue what was happening.
No, funny enough you say that, because the only person that's ever been to a football match in me is St James's Park with my missus. And as you know, she hate that sport with a passion. Like, I cannot get her to sit down. She will sit down and watch a match with me, but she'll sit on her phone, or she'll not watch the football. But I took her the first time to St James's Park and we won 4-1. And she actually, funny enough, there was one time we looked, no, funny enough, there was a wee kid and his dad sitting beside us and she kept laughing at the wee kid because he was more passionate probably than me and the dad put together. And, but I could just see her, like, there's a chant that Newcastle fans had for Rafa, and it was quite catchy. I'm not going to sing it because I can't remember. It was like Rafa, Rafa Benitez. And I could just see her in this corner of my eye, just like sort of muttering, and I'm like, that's not meant to happen.
Oh,
What's happening here? It's like, it's
I'm
catchy.
sure you were sitting
It's
there
catchy.
ready to plow her over the seat when you started singing that.
It was probably
I
one
was
of the
about
reasons
to
why I'm
say, I was
married her.
like,
It was,
when you say that, I was like, I'm going to buy this woman.
yeah. She has been to 2 football games on me, like, so I can't really not marry her. She did go out of her. She just was the Newcastle because she knows the night out's coming after, like, that's all. And the night
I
out
know
in the
you
food.
keep saying this, to be fair, and we've talked about it for ages, and to be fair, I think this was going to be the year that it was going to happen, and then obviously all this shit's happened, so that's on the back burner.
The Geordies, I despise English, like a lot of the English ones. Obviously, but the Geordies, I cannot say a bad word
No,
about them
no, no, no.
at all. They're so down to earth, and the parties and like the city. Like, I didn't really realize until I got landed in Newcastle with my family years and years ago. It's a city that literally revolves around that football club. St James is, if you're ever lost in Newcastle, in my opinion, sit at St James's Park. It's the centre of the city.
I,
You can't get fucked.
I'd always
It's
watched like Geordie Shore, like when it was good. That was like my introduction to like Newcastle atmosphere as such. And I was like,
yeah.
fuck, that seems crazy. And then I met a couple of them off the cast and all a couple of times, and they all really seemed like good crack. But and then so I was like, oh, I really want to go over for a night out, see what it's really like. Which is a bit mad, fly to another
No,
country just for one night out. But anyway, but I also want to go,
no,
I
they're
want to
insane.
go to say to somebody that I'm from Newcastle for them to look at you and go, what?
Yeah, yeah, no, they do that. Like, one of the first time when we went on the lads' holiday was my friend, Big Murray. He'll come on the podcast eventually. He's like massive. And then there's another boy locally. Um, First time we went and they're like, the Geordies are really like, they're not shy. They're definitely not shy people, especially when you get a drink in them. So I remember like, there was a couple of girls, and I obviously still with my missus at the time, and my mate ended up getting with one of them. Um, they walked over and they're like, oh my god, it's the accent against us speaking. You're like, I am from Ireland. They're like, whereabouts in Ireland? They're like, oh, the north of Ireland. And then, you turn around and go, Newcastle. They're like, no, we're in Newcastle. Like, the girls that we were speaking to, I'm not gonna lie, they weren't the most intelligent people, like, but we're in Newcastle. I'm like, yes, but we live in a town in north of Ireland called Newcastle. And then, so yeah, it was me actually. I went on the Google Maps. I was like, no,
So,
love, this is it. She's like, oh, there's actually more than one Newcastle. I'm like,
yeah, there's
oh,
fucking, there's tons
Jesus,
of them.
five? There's
No,
four or
there's more than
five
that.
of them where
There's
I know.
one in
Like, and I,
England. There's the one in England. There's the one we're in. There's one down south. There's one in South Africa. There's a couple in America. And then
the
there's
one
one
in
in
Australia.
Australia. And I think there's another one in Africa somewhere else. There's fucking tons of them. But it's funny, like, cause Newcastle Geordie's just like, there's just one Newcastle. They're like, no, there's plenty of them. We're from the other one.
It's probably the main Newcastle. Like, when you think of Newcastle,
Oh
you're always
yeah,
thinking of
obviously,
Geordies
yeah.
all the time. But, they definitely, you need to get over the party over there is, fuck me. I've never experienced it the night but I don't know if it's true. I probably won't speak. At night I got a hiding for.
Yeah,
I won't say
yeah.
I don't think why I said I don't know why in my opinion that I
That
got a hiding, but
that
unless it's
hiding
explain the reason.
was not long after me and you, like, cause we always knew each other, but that wasn't long after me and you had like started like talking like properly and forever. And when,
I
yeah,
getting
when
close.
I
Yeah,
didn't want to say it like I could have decided it. Yeah, I'm getting pop up, pop
yeah.
up, get close X.
Pop up the
Yeah, I
BM
never even
snap code.
fucking used to. That's how I was like, fuck that shit. But because it was always me and you and your dad out in the golf course, and then you hadn't been around in a while, and it was just always me and your dad. I was like, where is he? It's like, oh, he's sitting at home. I was like, why? He goes, he is in Newcastle. Like, I know. He goes, yeah, he got fucking clipped, and I go, what? He's like, yeah, he got fucking slapped around, and then
Literally, I don't
I
remember
remember
nothing.
sitting
But the last thing I remember, and I keep saying this to my missus, like literally, I go blank. So there was a girl or a boy, one of the bar men, a bar woman. I'd said I went up to get me and my missus a couple of shots of Sambuca or tequila, I can't remember which one, and then the girl turned around and goes, "Oh, you can get like Newcastle drink offers are insane." She goes, "You can get 10 for like £5." And we went, "What? What?" They're like, "Yeah, you can get 10 for a £5." So we're like, so I just sort of looked down at her. She's like, "Fuck it." Like, she's like, "Oh, you're going to regret this, aren't we?" I was like, "Yep." So we got it. I never like, she's like, "What flavours do you want?" And there was a fuckload of flavours. Like, she did, I think she gave us like 2 of each. Um, and after that, Bowden's blank. Pure
Doesn't
blank.
remember a thing.
Next thing I remember was, a big, how do you say it? A big black man hitting me and on the floor. And then the next thing I remember was a police officer carrying over to Michelle City, and she was in a state
Jesus.
as well. And I don't remember what happened after that. I remember then after that being in the hospital, and I don't remember a lot after that either. And then, funny enough, our flight home was after that, so I think we only got back to the hotel at like 6 in the 6. It was definitely in the morning because I could see the stadium in the background. So it was like 6 in the morning. Checkout was at 11, so we literally got back to the hotel at like 7, slept for like 3 hours, packed in the, I mean, that airport journey alone
I'm sure it was
on the
horrendous.
metro, I think I booked. I think I might have booked on the metro
Oof.
in the airport.
Fuck.
I think I booked on the metro on my brother's 30th. Yeah, that was a different time. I booked in the airport the second we got in, and then I booked before we got through security, which was literally about 5 seconds after, and then went through security, and then it was just a hell. Like, I think we were waiting for about 4 or 5 hours for the flight because and rough. My missus slept, which was quite intelligent of her. Bowden decided to sit up on his phone. And
I'd be the same. I wouldn't be able to sleep. But I can just imagine you just see after the cop just like scraping you off the ground, just holding you in his arms, going over the lever, going, "Do you own this?"
There's a
Oh, it's
woman.
her.
There was a
Going,
woman.
"Do you own this
Yeah.
thing here?" He's going, "Here you go, have him back."
There was a woman, and I just remember her, like, my fiance, she was leaning against, like, a green bin, and I just remember her sitting me down beside her, and then the cop's like, "You need to go to the hospital, you're going to need stitches," and I was like, "I'll be grand,
I was about to say, you
yeah.
probably did the Irish, like, "I'll be
Her,
grand, don't worry about it."
yeah. And my missus like, "No, you should see your lip." And I was like, "Why is it bad?" She's like, "Michael, like, your lip is in half." I was like, "Oh,
Shit.
okay." So, yeah, I went back and I think I ended up getting 4 stitches. And then, funny enough, the police officer turned around to me and goes, "Do you want to press charges?" And I was like, "Can I get money?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes."
I,
That was about 4 years ago. And I still haven't heard anything, or probably more than 4 years ago. I
yeah,
still haven't heard anything
fair
from
enough.
the
It would
Northumberland.
be about 4 or 5 years ago. You just like, "I've got bills, I need to pay."
And then the guy was sitting going, like, when I go back home with others, and they're like, "Mate, you're going to get mint." He's like, 4. I was like, "$1,000 a stitch." And I'm going, "I got like 4 or 5 stitches. Fucking right." Still haven't heard
You're
anything.
sitting on £1, £2, £3, £4.
Yep. Counting the steps, counting to the doctors. I remember being in the hospital and ringing my mom. I actually woke my mom up at
Oh,
like 6
why
in
would
the
you
morning.
phone her, you fucking donkey?
Because the hospital were going to do it regardless.
Why?
I knew they were. I don't know. I knew they
You
were.
were
And then
18
I
at
was
this
like,
point, were you not? Yeah,
I
there
was,
was a
yeah.
fucking phone. Hello, is this Bowden's mother? Yeah, we know you're in another country and your son's just not in the hospital here. Don't worry about it though. The man's gonna be mint.
He's landed here, and he's probably got about half a lip on him. But yeah, no, it's definitely should get you over there. It's my missus got one of her good friends. She moved over there. She had family over there. That's her now. That's me. My excuse for trying to get her to go to
Sure,
Newcastle.
go visit
Her,
family.
yeah, so we'll go see your mate, and we'll meet up and have a few drinks and get a wee bite to eat there. But before we do all that, we'll go to the game though. Yeah, we'll go to St James's, watch a match.
Have a Friday night. Like, oh, I didn't even know there was a game on this weekend. Sure, we're here now. Oh, here, look, I already have the tickets here. Sure, we'll go watch it.
Tickets are in the suitcase and all of.
Don't know how that happened.
Oh my god. Funny enough, my name's on it too. Yeah, I don't actually know where.
Oh, sweetheart,
Jesus, Santa
this
came
is
early.
meant to be. It'd be rude not to show up.
We were not, sure, we'll come on, we're sitting in the galley again, let's go.
Christ. Fuck, that's funny. Well, sure,
Yeah.
sometime if we go, we'll do a podcast live on a night out.
Jesus
Just
Christ.
start off,
The Geordies would
start
love
off
that because
fine.
they're quite good with their camera.
We'll just start off fine and then just like, well, for me, half an hour later, just me absolutely smashed up against the table.
I actually just want to rat my friend out. So I think you know the story
I,
of like Murray in the nightclub on the
I
smoking
think you
area.
should leave that for when Murray's on. No,
Nope.
no, we're
No.
definitely, we're
He's
going to
on.
leave that one
Yeah,
from,
'cause that's a
we're
fair
going to leave
point.
that one from Murray being
I'll
on.
let I'll let him explain that one because that was probably one of the most disturbing things I've ever saw in a nightclub in
If
my
I
life.
remember which store it is, I remember hearing it the first time. I just went, holy fuck.
Well, no, boys, of course, would have given him like a round of applause. I'm like, you didn't see it. This came out of nowhere.
Oh, fuck. No, if it's the one I was like, oh, like, yeah, definitely keep that one for him being on. Well,
Oh, no, that's
tell
a
you
fair
what,
point. I'll keep it from you
we'll
on.
get him on, in a couple of days because we'll do another episode just dedicated nearly to that.
Just dedicated to that eventful scene where I will never
Etched
forget.
in the brain.
It's literally like I'll never forget it. Like it's such a good story. And I see the day if he ever gets married, I'm gonna bury him. I don't give a shit if I'm not his best man. I'm gonna bury him. I'm gonna bury him. I'm going to go, Murray, did you ever tell your wife this story? Today's the day you get divorced, love. Right now.
Oh
What a
god,
story.
no, we'll keep that one firm. But no, we're gonna wrap this up because I've got some lovely fencing coming that I need to throw up here while I lose my mind. But yeah, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook at Irish Impulse Podcast. You can get us on Spotify. You can get us on Google Podcasts, and now you can get us on Apple Podcasts. If you just we made it to the big time.
Break out the red panties, baby.
We've
We
got
made
to the
it.
big time.
60 G's, Dana.
Yeah, we've made it to the big time. So, and then you can also get us on YouTube as well at Irish Impulse Podcast.